I'm Maggie. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a college student. I'm 23 years old. I grew up in a really conservative family in a really conservative part of a really conservative state. My social life was like all surrounding my church that I grew up in, that 3 generations of my family have gone to. I went to a private classical Christian school where in 5th and 6th grade during the 2008 election, I literally would hear from my classmates and their parents and sometimes my teachers that Barack Obama was literally the Antichrist. And I was like, gay people, they shouldn't be allowed to get married, that's not right, because that's all I was told. And plot twist, now I'm gay. This is Dill. He has friends all over the neighborhood. Our neighbors right next door are very good friends with Dill. A few weeks ago, they put up a Trump flag and a Trump sign in their yard. And so now I'm thinking I have to get Dill a Biden bandana, something so that when he goes over there, they know that he doesn't agree with them. Right. I asked my parents to be part of this interview and they were not interested. They just want everyone to kind of get along and you can be friends with people you disagree with, and they're not interested in having a fight about any of it. Whereas some of this stuff, I'm like, this is stuff worth fighting about. It's fundamental, basic human rights stuff that if you don't have these conversations, nothing changes and nothing gets better.
Father, thank you for this day, for this family, and for taking care of us. Thank you for this food. Please watch over this country. Thanks for all the ways you take care of us. In Christ's name, amen. How was your day at school? Was it fine?
It was fine.
It was fine.
My day was fine.
I remember when gay marriage was legalized, being like, what do you think? And trying to challenge them on it and be like, well, I think it's great. And trying to just let them know, I'm probably not agreeing with everything that you've taught me. And then 2016 happened and I felt like nothing I was told or was taught growing up was accurate. There are times where I'll try and take a more intentional approach to the conversation and try and make a personal connection to them. Well, I'll start and say, I'm your daughter, right? You love me? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, can you see why voting for these people would mean that I would possibly be at risk of losing my job because of my sexuality? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's put the pieces together. Final answer to that conversation was, there's all these other issues that are also being voted on. That's not the only thing. I didn't think that it was possible to be anything but a Republican. I thought that it was a sin to not be a Republican and vote for Republicans. It was probably not until I went to college and was my sophomore year, was the 2016 election, that I was like, wait, something's not adding up, and I had to think about it for myself and really kind of reassess everything that I've been told and taught and thought that I thought.
One thing that's happened in 2020 is we see a lot of high-profile children disagreeing with their parents in a very public way on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. And I think that helps ordinary children feel more confident in being able to talk about politics with their parents and disagree with their parents where they may otherwise not feel so confident. Claudia Conway is the daughter of Kellyanne Conway and George Conway, who are high-profile political actors in the United States.
Believe it or not, you can have your own opinions. Not influenced by your parents at all, simply by educating yourself. My views have absolutely nothing to do with my mom's. Please stop commenting about her. Please stop commenting about my dad. Go find another hobby, sweetheart.
The Claudia Conway thing is very interesting. I've thought some of those things, and I've had moments where I'm like, I don't want to talk about my family and where I came from because I don't agree with them anymore. And yeah, you love your family no matter what, but sometimes they're supporting things that aren't what you agree with, and that's really hard to reconcile those two things. And to do it so publicly like Claudia's had to do sounds awful.
Political beliefs come from a lot of different places. Typically, we think of them as being the result of self-interest. So maybe a person has a material interest that would benefit from a particular policy. We also think that it can come from identity. So perhaps your racial or gender or sexual orientation or your religious identity comes to shape what you believe.
2015, the legalization of gay marriage, saw a lot of people in my life be very upset about that. And when I realized I actually am part of the LGBT community, so this stuff does affect me. When you have a personal connection to an issue, I think that's a big moment.
Leaving the home, joining the workforce, it exposes you to new social networks, to new people, to new ideas. That is the opportunity for children to rethink what they believe politically.
Fort Worth and Tarrant County is one of the only major cities in Texas that still votes red. So Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio all vote blue. And Fort Worth is getting there slowly. And it's all about increasing voter turnout and voter participation. And so if I can help that at all a little bit, get a few more people registered, I want to be able to do that. There are people who are doing a lot more than me that deserve a lot more credit for everything they're doing. I really admire them and think that they're probably a lot more worth talking to, but I'm glad that I can do what I can. In the evenings, I do some phone banking for Elizabeth Beck's campaign for state representative. My name is Maggie. I'm a volunteer with Elizabeth Beck's campaign. We were just calling because this is the last week before the voter registration deadline on Tuesday. I also recognize that it's a privilege that I'm able to live with my parents right now, and so I don't have to go try and find a way to make money in the evenings, and I can sit around calling people. Definitely understand that. Do you plan on voting this year? And so if I have the ability to, and there are so many people who can't, why would I not do what I can? I know that they love me. They tell me they love me always, forever, and no matter what. That's the phrase they use. But also, sometimes it's just hard to think about. These people that I love don't agree with me on some of the most basic fundamental things that are, to me, black and white, right or wrong. I don't know. It's weird, and it's easier to just not think about sometimes. But in a year like this, that gets harder and harder to do.